Hello YouTube, Magma Rhino here, and what I'm going to actually talk to you about today is the new iPad. Before you go nuts, I know this is an Android channel. I do Android stuff mostly with Asus Transformer, but the thing is, the Asus Transformer, the original one, was the first true competitor to the iPad 2. It was the first one that had sales that were actually relatively close. I know they weren't that close, but they still were a lot closer than any other Android tablet. So this is the new camera, and obviously it's going to be somewhat similar to the Prime. So what I want to do is just go through it, explain the new features, what they mean as far as improvements, and how they stack up to the Prime, because they are such big competitors now. First of all, Retina display, as you can see here, that's pretty much the main thing they did. I'm sure you're going to yell at me for saying that, but it's the main thing they did. It's the main thing you're going to notice. The other stuff is pretty much minute compared to that, other than 4G, but that's only if you have 4G. So Retina display means they doubled the resolution. It means there is 2,000 something by like 1,800 pixels. I don't know the exact number. It should say here if I click on it. But you know, basically, it's a good thing. It means pictures are gonna be a lot crisper, and let's go to tech specs actually. It's really going to impact you as far as your cinema experience, because then you can watch full HD videos in full HD. Let's go back. And reading books, if you like to read books on your tablet, the text is going to be a lot crisper. You know, browsing the web, stuff like that will be a lot better, and so forth, as you would expect from the resolution. So let me see if I can find it really quick. 2048 by 1536. So that's 264 ppi. Just to give you a comparison, this screen right here is like 150 ppi. And you know, you can see the pixels if you're really looking, but not that much. So Retina display is obviously a very nice, crisp display. It's still IPS. They didn't do any more improvements there. They claim better colors and contrast, but you never really know until you get it in your hands. I would believe them though on that. Next thing they did, they thickened it out a little bit. It's now 0.37 inches instead of 0.33, correct me if I'm wrong. They also made it a tiny bit heavier. Let's go to the weight. I don't know the old weight, but the new one is 1.44 pounds, which is definitely a bit heavier. Still a lot thinner and lighter than the original iPad. Right, the name. The name is the new iPad. I didn't mention that because I completely forgot when I said this is the new iPad that is the name, the new iPad. I don't know what made them think to do that. It kind of hints that this is going to be the last iPad, then they're going to move on to something else, but you never really know with them. They still got the supposed fingerprint-resistant coating, which I've noticed it does kind of work, but of course it's a touchscreen, it's not going to work very well. Support different languages, don't really care. The next thing, the CPU, I'm going to bash Apple to bits on this, and I don't have a choice, they brought it on themselves. In their little presentation where they announced the new iPad, they claim that their processor is 4 times faster than the NVIDIA Tegra 3 quad-core processor. You might be like, well, it probably is. No, it's maybe in like one field, like as far as like graphic fluid, I don't even know what. But they probably just tested one tiny field where they knew theirs had the huge advantage. But the fact is, the new iPad is dual core. It's only 2 cores. They pretty much just completely shied away from that in the presentation. They mentioned it like once, and then they never mentioned it again. They tried to distract you from that, because it is only 2 cores. Granted, it is running faster on the 2 cores. They don't actually tell you. I'm guessing maybe 1.5, 1.6 gigahertz. But still, it doesn't match up to the quad-core 1.4 gigahertz, 1.3 that the Prime is running. And there's no way that you're going to be able to beat it with only a dual core. It kind of goes back to like before, where they were saying their 3G on their iPhone is faster than 4G on others. It just doesn't happen. It really isn't possible unless... well, it isn't possible. But you might be confused. You might think there are 4 cores. It's a 4-core GPU. But for comparison, the Tegra 3 processor has a 12-core GPU, so it doesn't even beat it in that. It does have a 4G radio now, so that's good. And it also gets 10 hours of battery life Wi-Fi, 9 hours 4G, which is good. They managed to keep the battery life, which is, I'm guessing, why they thickened it well, kind of significantly. New camera, 5 megapixel, which is a definite improvement over the 1.3 that it used to be, I believe. They don't mention the front-facing one, which makes me think that it's probably still really low. But, that's what Apple does. If they have something they aren't particularly proud of, they just don't really mention it. As you can clearly tell here, where it should tell you the resolution of the front camera. Battery, I already mentioned that. They got the same classic docks, 30-pin connector. Here's the speaker, the headphone jack, and the mic. Like usual, nothing new there. Same sensors as before. Same stuff here, same stuff, same old stuff. So that's pretty much it. So the new iPad, I would say, cost is the same as before. Starts at $500 for the 16 gigabyte, going up from there, pretty much the same as it's always been, and it always will be. So what do I think of it? I do think it's a great device. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say I hate it because it's Apple. I do not like the processor, though. It's really underpowered. You'd figure with pretty much the entire world going quad-core, even in phones now, they're beginning to make quad-core phones, you'd think Apple would make a quad-core. But no, they don't. And I mean, people thought with the iPhone 4S they'd make it 4G, and no, they didn't. Apple, they do good. They make quality products. But some of the main things they don't do just because they have minor drawbacks. And they don't feel like compromising their design to make the new features available. Such as the iPhone, if they gave it 4G, they would have to make it thicker to have a bigger battery because they have to have the super battery life. That's kind of what they strive on. And then, this with the quad core, I'm guessing the same thing. Quad core would still got more battery. They'd have to make it even thicker than already required by the Retina display. So, it's things like that it just bothers me about Apple. I wish they would keep up with the latest stuff and all of the latest stuff instead of finding their own little finicky ways around it, like the dual-core chip and then claiming it's 4 times faster than the NVIDIA Tegra 3, which it obviously isn't. It's actually funny, their press statement said they were honored to be mentioned by Apple and they would love to see Apple prove their claim there. So, I mean, obviously everybody knows that's not going to happen. So, don't get me wrong, it's a good device. I think it would be very good. Very good graphics, good performance. Cameras are probably definitely better. Retina display would be really nice. But if you want my opinion, I would go with the Transformer Prime Infinity series. And that's coming out in a few months, I believe. And I will mention that in a video that's going to be posted shortly after this one. So if you'd like to know more about that, stay tuned later. And you will find out everything about the Transformer Prime Infinity and the Transformer Pad 300, which are 2 great tablets coming up soon. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. That's all. So if you like this video, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, show your support, all that stuff, and I'll see you later.